Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome. Thank you for joining us for which is our second in our family orientation webinar series. We had our Successfully Transitioning Your Student to the College webinar last week. The video of that is posted on our orientation website at orientation.uchicago.edu in the communications from the college or incoming student communications section of the website if you want to check that out. But tonight, thank you for joining us for navigating college opportunities. My name is Matthew Hendricks. I'm the Senior Director of College Programming and Orientation. And we are all looking forward to seeing you on campus very soon. Tonight's presentation is going to focus on information dealing with ways that your students can get engaged on campus through a number of curricular and co-curricular programs offered by some of our great offices on campus, including Career Advancements, Study Abroad, and the Center for Leadership and Involvement. So we will have the opportunity to share with you a lot of information, and then to answer some questions that you may have. So if you do come up with questions, please drop those in the Q&A box that you'll find at the bottom of your screen there. And so once we get through our presentation, we'll start going through some of those questions. All right, so tonight's speakers are Meredith Daw. She's the Associate Vice President for Enrollment and Student Advancement and the Executive Director of Career Advancement. Sarah Walter, the Director of Study Abroad and the Associate Dean for International Education in the college, and Jimmy Brown, the Director of the Center for Leadership and Involvement. And with that, I will turn it over to Sarah to get us kicked off.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Matt. Hi, everyone. Welcome again to today's session on navigating college opportunities, focusing, as Matt said, on career advancement, study abroad, and on-campus student activities. I'm Sarah Walter, and I'm the Director of Study Abroad in the college, and I am delighted to be joined by my wonderful colleagues, Meredith Daw, who will be speaking about our incredible career advancement opportunities, and Jimmy Brown, who will talk to you about all of the ways in which his office supports student leadership and involvement on campus. So we're sorry we can't be together with you in person, but we're still really thrilled to be able to talk to you as a collective because our offices often work in partnership as we help students identify and pursue enriching opportunities outside of the on-campus classroom. So today we'll share a bit about resources that are available and how students access them, what programs are available to students in their first year, and how students should really think about planning for this year and beyond. We will also share a timeline of the various events that we're holding throughout the year that your students can take advantage of. And of course, please rest assured we're communicating all of these same important dates directly to your students as well. You are not the only bearers of this knowledge. Since there's so much to take in, we'll really be focusing on the broader planning picture today, but we will refer you to our websites at the end where you can explore these offerings in greater detail. And I also wanted to mention that during Family Weekend in October, we will have dedicated sessions really focusing on the nuts and bolts of our programmatic portfolios. So we hope you'll be able to join us for those sessions as well. And similarly, as Matt alluded to in the beginning, the slides that we're sharing today, along with a recording of the presentation, will be available on the orientation website. So you'll be able to revisit this information later if you wish. So again, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. And I will now turn it over to Meredith to talk about first year career guidance.
Thank you for the introduction, Sarah, and welcome everyone. I'm delighted to introduce you tonight to Career Advancement. So we are the office that helps your student plan for post-graduation success. And in many areas of the country, when career offices are working with students, they're really focusing on a student's senior year. But at the University of Chicago, we began working with your student over the summer. And our goal is by utilizing the entire 4 years, we're helping them to explore all of their career possibilities and to successfully transition to a career field that they're most interested in. What we find year after year is that this approach works very well and translates into between 96 to 97% of students having a plan at the time of graduation. So this means that they've secured a full-time job offer, they've secured a fellowship that paid opportunity, or they have gained admission to a graduate professional school. And this is at the time of graduation, not 3 to 6 months out. So we're really proud that our students do so well. And it really is because they're taking advantage of the numerous opportunities that are available to them over their 4 years. We also work to ensure that students are aware of opportunities to get involved with the various grad professional schools on campus, and that they're taking advantage of specialized opportunities, which I'm going to talk to you about this evening. So as I mentioned, most career centers use a traditional model of working with students, and they spend very little time working with students in their first year, and that ramps up as students near graduation. Our model hinges on the concept that we begin working with students at the beginning of their first year. When students will be meeting with their academic advisors next week, they'll also have a separate meeting with their career services advisor. And this ensures that we're forming a relationship at the beginning of their college career, really mapping out opportunities that are available to them. What we find is that because of this early intervention, that about a quarter of our rising fourth years already have a full-time job offer secured before their senior year, because they've been kind of working lockstep to secure opportunities that then translate into the full-time opportunity. What we find too is that presenting first-year students with opportunities just for that first year helps them to understand the opportunities that are available, but without getting overwhelmed with planning for, let's say, the third year or the fourth year. So during our first year meeting, which will occur next week, we really map out what they could be doing fall, winter, and spring quarters. And we also take an inventory of what are their interests, what's most important to them, what certain requirements do they have in terms of geography or things that they're most interested in. We've done some of this match work over the summer when we looked at their college application and read about what their career field interests are, what their potential major might be, and then paired them with the best match in terms of their career advisor. Of course, they are welcome to switch advisors down the road, but we wanted to get them off to the best start based on anything that they may have shared in their college application. So we've talked a little bit about what we do from a generalist perspective, which is helping them to build a resume, think about their career interests, get them involved with job shadowing or Micro-Metcalfs. We also then help students to really specialize by getting them to work with an advisor that has worked in their particular career field. So for example, our pre-law advisors worked as attorneys at law firms. Our pre-med advisor was the former head of admissions for our very own Pritzker Medical School. And all of this information is incredibly helpful for students when we're doing the advising. But our staff is really comprised of both generalists as well as specialists to ensure that students are getting the level of service that they need. When we talk about the specialists, it's important to note that we've got a suite of careers in programs, and these programs are really designed to help students take advantage of the depth of experiences that we have here at the University of Chicago. So for example, we have a program that is focused on business. About a quarter of the students come into the college thinking that this is what they want to pursue. And we partner with the business school so that students in the college can take 4-credit graduate level courses through Booth, our business school. They are also paired with an MBA student to be a mentor, and we provide funding to the MBA student to take the undergraduate student out for coffee or for lunch and to develop that mentorship relationship. We run bi-weekly programming for students interested in business. We're bringing in industry experts to teach students what they need to know about the field. And then we're running varieties of tracks and job shadowing opportunities to really provide the experiential opportunities specifically for business within the program. All of these programs follow this similar format where our law program, for example, works with our law school, or our healthcare program works with the Pritzker School of Medicine. What we found is that students love digging in deep to the subject level material, and that they're typically interested in more than just one field. So it's perfectly fine for them to be in just one careers in program. Many of them are taking advantage of 2 or 3, especially as they hone their interests. We have a variety of these programs. The first, as I mentioned, was the business program, but we just recently launched a program in engineering and computer science. We've got a great program in creative writing that was launched a few years ago. So it really runs the gamut and covers every student's areas of interest. And then in addition to that specialized advising, we're always thinking about how to help students try on different career fields. This is really important specifically for students who have not had prior work experience or students in their first or second year. Something we talk a lot about is how to help students get a job opportunity or an internship if they don't have prior experience. So our model here is creating non-competitive experiences for students to help their resume, to develop a network, to try on different fields. And so our job shadowing and track programs are all non-competitive. That means that any student who wants to participate, we would gladly accommodate that request, and they can do multiple job shadowing track opportunities, in fact. But each experience then gives them more credibility and enthusiasm for the next experience and helps to make them competitive in a wider job applicant pool. One of these programs is our job shadowing program. This is an opportunity for our students to spend 1 to 5 days with an alum, an employer, a student who is in the graduate professional school, where they can really see what it's like to be in a professional work environment. We have students following physicians at the medical center. We have students going downtown and working at LinkedIn for a week and trying that on. We found that during COVID, we tried to do this virtually, and it worked really well. So for students who want to get to try on an opportunity for a day, let's say in London, we're now able to do this all through different technology capabilities. And of course, we have in-person job shadowing opportunities in the Chicagoland area and beyond as well. Probably our most popular program is our career track program. And this is where students can travel around the world based on a specific industry focus. So for example, we ran a career track to Finland to study the K-12 educational system there. We ran a program to Paris, focusing on the legal courts within Europe. We run programs to New York for finance, for example, or go out to LA for arts and media. But all of these tracks afford the opportunity for students to travel with a cohort of their peers and a career advisor staff member to really dig in deep once they're in the city to learn more about that city, its workplace culture, as well as learning about specific organizations within that city, and to really be competitive for a future opportunity with that organization. We send a resume book to the employers who are hosting our students on the tracks so that they can conduct in-person interviews while we're on site. And what we find is that many of these students are able to secure an internship or full-time job just by participating in the track. These are some sample itineraries of tracks that we've run in the past. You can see when we travel to LA, we have very busy days. We get up and travel as a group to these host organizations where students get to meet with employers at the sites. And then in the evenings, we're doing networking reception or cultural excursion, but they're a lot of fun. And once a student gets to participate in one of the tracks, they typically sign up for another one because they're so much fun. The best part is that the university covers the costs for the hotel, the ground transportation, and all of the food. And in many cases, we also cover the airfare as well. So these are a great way for us to do off-campus recruiting and to help students get to see the world of work. Our flagship internship program, which you may have heard throughout the admissions process, is the Micro-Metcalf program. This program was started 25 years ago and remains probably the largest internship program in the country. What's very special about the program is that it provides opportunities in every career field, even in fields that are typically unpaid. So if the student wants to have a curatorial internship or to work at a museum or work for the government, opportunities that typically are unpaid for students, the university provides the student with an educational grant so that they can have both a professional opportunity as well as to earn wages over the summer or during the academic year, depending on when their Metcalf is occurring. What we found is that these opportunities are worldwide. So a student can pursue an opportunity in South America in business, for example, or to have a healthcare opportunity in Africa. Typically, these opportunities are between 8 to 10 weeks and over the summer, but we have about 500 opportunities during the academic year as well, especially because we're close to the city of Chicago. Students can go down for a day or an afternoon and work in the city of Chicago. We've taken that program, which again is longer, more substantive experiences, and we created a smaller term project-based opportunity called the Micro-Metcalf program. And this is project-based work that is paid for students. Typically, it's doing research or a writing project for an author. They're working at tech companies on the West Coast. Some of the opportunities are in person here on campus, but many of them are around the world where an employer needs a student to complete a project. They're excited about working with the University of Chicago student, and we match the student with the employer for this paid work. Again, this is a great way for a student to try on a field, to get paid, but also to have it translate into a longer term opportunity. Our office is also responsible for student employment. So if the student is interested in getting a job at our athletics facility or working at the library, working with a faculty member, we post all of these opportunities and help students be competitive as they seek these opportunities out. What we find is that we're also helping them to navigate work study money and making sure that they're able to take advantage of those dollars. But outside of work study, we have thousands of opportunities for students to hit the ground running with an opportunity. Many of these jobs stick with students for up to their full 4 years, or they can try on different job opportunities if they want to do something different. But all of this is managed out of the Career Advancement Office. What we find is that these experiences and just the talented UChicago student body does very well at graduation, and that they're making a difference in a variety of organizations. So just to name a few statistics, we are one of the largest recruiting schools for Accenture. We're the #1 school for the CIA for their analytics branch, especially in the Near East, South Asia area. Always a top 10 school for Teach for America. And what we find is that these employers keep coming back year after year because they're so impressed with our students and how our students perform on the job. And then in terms of professional schools, our office, as I mentioned, helps students prepare for law school applications or medical school applications. These are our top 5 destinations for law and medicine this past year in alphabetical order, but you can see that the University of Chicago is on this list in both columns, and that's because the university loves to accept University of Chicago undergraduate students and has early acceptance programs and tuition remission programs just for University of Chicago college students. So it's a great destination for our students to stay here on campus and continue their University of Chicago education. The same can be said for our master's and PhD programs that were in the University of Chicago's on the list across the board there, but these are other top destinations specifically for PhD programs in terms of where our students went this past year. So if we were in the Itineraries building, which is where we typically give this presentation in person, I'd be sharing my business card with you because so often it's parents that make a difference. If your organization is interested in hosting an intern or welcoming us on a track, we'd love to connect with you. We found that we've been able to expand our network of opportunities for students through parents, and it's been a really rewarding network both for the parents and for the students. I just want to say thank you again for your time, and I'm turning it over to Sarah to talk about study abroad.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Meredith. So I've been with the Office of Study Abroad for many years now, and while this past year and a half has brought particular challenges, if anything for me, it's really reinforced the value of being able to make in-person connections to people and places around the world. I'm so grateful that we live in a time when we have this incredible technology that allows us to continue our lives through virtual platforms, but at least in my view, nothing can truly replace the experience of being physically present in a particular environment and making those in-person connections. So we're working very hard to make those experiences happen safely and productively for our students abroad. I'll talk more about our specific COVID-19 planning protocols as related to study abroad a bit later, but I wanted to just start with a quick snapshot of our study abroad participation at the University of Chicago. We are really thrilled that so many students at the University of Chicago take advantage of study abroad. Approximately half of all students representing the full range of majors in the college participate in one of our programs, either studying abroad for a quarter or a full academic year. This is quite high for an institution of our profile. And one of the primary reasons that many students choose to study abroad is because our programs are really a natural extension of the college curriculum, meaning that these opportunities reflect the reasons that students have sought out the University of Chicago in the first place. We know that your students have worked really hard to get here. They've made thoughtful choices about why they're coming to UChicago. Each quarter is precious. So the fact that our programs are taught by our faculty who are sharing their scholarship and connections with students overseas means that we aren't asking students to take a break from the college to study abroad, which I think is a message that resonates with our students. In terms of registration and financial aid, students in our programs stay enrolled at the University of Chicago, which means that their courses, credits, and grades automatically appear on their transcripts, and financial aid eligibility is retained. This is a great help for students because they know even before they apply for a program how the courses would contribute to major, minor, or general education requirements, and they know what it would cost. We also, in addition just to the financial aid carrying over, have additional special funding available for Odyssey scholars to help meet any out-of-pocket expenses. So our goal is to make these programs both academically and financially accessible to all undergraduates. In terms of our international reach, we have a diverse range of 65 different programs around the globe. Our signature faculty-led programs include the Civilization Abroad or CIV sequences, which allows students to complete the college's year-long general education requirement in civilization studies in a single quarter abroad. So in these programs, a group of approximately 25 students travels to notable cities with UChicago faculty who are tailoring each year's courses to take advantage of current museum exhibits, cultural events, local scholars, their own research. And the philosophy behind these programs is really to wed that traditional UChicago style coursework with the direct experience of a culture. And we now have 22 different Civ Abroad programs in Europe, Asia, Africa, and South America, and we're continuing to expand those in response to student and faculty demand. Then in addition to the CIVs, our faculty also teach quarter-long programs that focus on particular subjects such as biological sciences, the humanities, social sciences, advanced math. So in these programs, students can earn either major, minor, or general elective credit, and that all just depends on the program and the student's individual course of study. But much like in the CIVs, the faculty are sharing how their particular subject is understood in an international setting. And then in addition to our faculty-led programs, we also have direct enrollment or exchange programs that allow students to take coursework at one of our partner universities abroad. Some of these require language fluency, but not all, as increasingly partners are adding English language course offerings. And I'll just address a frequently asked question now because it comes up almost in every session, and it's a great question, which is how do we translate the quarter academic calendar to a semester at institution, which many of our partners abroad follow? And really, students can do this one of two ways: either spend an entire academic year abroad, because a year translates to a year quite easily, or the autumn semester works well with our autumn quarter. Students just arrive a bit earlier at their university abroad, and they wrap up the autumn semester typically in time to come back to campus to begin the winter and spring quarters here at UChicago. So in addition to our study abroad offerings that happen during the academic year, the college also offers financial support to students who want to study language or conduct research abroad during the summer. So this is through our Summer International Travel Grant Program, where students can identify either a program or create their own experience, and they can apply for awards of up to $5,000 from the college to help offset those costs. And we fund approximately 100 of these grants every summer, and that's about half or sometimes more than half of the applications that are received each year. So it's a great opportunity for students who really want an independent experience, who want to focus on the summer, either brush up on language or undertake some research abroad. Needless to say, this past year and a half has looked quite different from our normal operations. The vast majority of our programs have been on hiatus, though we are now selectively resuming programs this fall. And in fact, we have 2 cohorts abroad right now in 3-week September courses in Florence and Paris, and they're having a fabulous time, I'm happy to report, students and faculty alike. And then later this month, a number of our faculty-led programs in Europe will begin, including our Vienna Civilizations program, which Dean Boyer is teaching in. So we're very excited about that. In planning for these programs, our office develops comprehensive protocols taking into consideration travel logistics, any testing or potential quarantine requirements, the local COVID and healthcare environment, programmatic structure, what our on-site facilities are, including housing and classroom space, our local support networks, and what contingency plans would be available. These proposals are then reviewed by the university's Pandemic Travel Review Committee, which includes representation from risk management, legal counsel, the provost's office, and our own assistant director for health and safety and study abroad. And then if approved, there's a continuous monitoring process to ensure that these plans remain feasible. We, of course, always abide by local laws, and in some cases we apply additional provisions based on university guidance for masking, greater social distancing, and testing. And in every program we have a local team on the ground that can assist students with all of their needs, including testing or access to local healthcare as needed. In many locations, students have single rooms, but where rooms are shared, much like here on campus, we're securing additional quarantine housing space in case of need. And we've also adapted some of our plans related to meals and excursions to maximize safety. And if needed, our courses can pivot to remote instruction so students can complete their studies, which we know is the top priority. We certainly hope that this will not be a year of many program cancellations, but in those instances, we offer students the option to defer if they wish. Now, hopefully by the time your students are ready to study abroad, we will be in a much better place. And this first year is really a year for general exploration and information gathering. So in this first year, students should be talking with their college academic advisor about their goals for studying abroad, taking into consideration their academic and personal interests, any other activities they're involved in on campus, like sports or clubs or all of the amazing RSOs that Jimmy's going to talk to you about, so they can establish a working timeline. And then together they can slot in where study abroad would best fit. For most programs, students apply the year before they travel abroad. So if your student wanted to study abroad in their 3rd year, which is the most common, then they would apply in their 2nd year. Some programs are competitive. For some reason, a lot of students want to go to Barcelona in the winter. We're not sure why. So it's helpful for students to have a few options in mind when they apply. And to help them think through those options, we strongly recommend that first-year students attend our information sessions in the autumn quarter. This year, we'll be holding those online and offering them as recordings as well. In those sessions, we review all of the different program types in detail. We talk about locations, we go through the application process, and our program coordinators are on hand to answer any questions. Likewise, our office is open and students are welcome to make an appointment to meet with us, and they can do that either in person or via Zoom. So I think the important takeaways are that we remain strongly committed to these opportunities and to making them happen as safely and effectively as possible. We have a diverse range of programs that can accommodate our diverse student population, and we're working with students beginning in their 1st year just to help them think through the possibilities and help them make a thoughtful plan so they can find the right program at the right time. So with that, I will turn things over to Jimmy to share some of the exciting ways that his office is helping support students' involvement and success on campus.
Thank you, Sarah. As Matt said earlier, my name's Jimmy Brown, and I serve as the director of the Center for Leadership and Involvement. My team, we work across campus to advise and support the activities of all of our recognized student organizations, of which there are many, as well as provide a wide portfolio of leadership development and social programming for students in the college. And actually, the first opportunity I wanted to highlight this evening is one that your students should have already been notified about in their UChicago email. For the last 7 years, we've had the privilege of partnering with the college, Career Advancement, and the Gallup organization to provide a StrengthsQues access code for every incoming 1st year and transfer student in the college. This is an online assessment tool that we use as a foundation for all of our leadership development programming. Your students don't need to wait until they're on campus to take this assessment. They're welcome to do so now. And then over the course of the year, they will be invited to participate in a variety of conversations and programs to better understand their results and explore how they can leverage their identified leadership strengths in all areas of campus life. For students who are just starting to consider the many ways of getting involved on campus, this assessment is actually a really great place to start having those conversations, be it with their college academic advisor, with their career advisor, through Meredith's office, or one of the many staff members that I have working in the Center for Leadership and Involvement. Apart from the access for StrengthsQuest, there are a number of additional leadership development opportunities that are available for your students. These programs are offered almost exclusively free of charge and are open to any student in the college. And all of these programs are designed to help students explore and develop their own personal leadership style. We like to say we're not asking the question, will you lead? But we're asking, how will you lead while you're a UChicago student? And I just wanted to highlight a few of these that we have this evening. First, students could choose to focus on one particular aspect of their StrengthsQuest results, be it better understanding how they contribute to a team, developing better communication skills, or maybe practicing their conflict management skills. We offer these workshops quarterly for students. Both the Student Leadership Institute and our newest Women's Leadership Series are cohort-based programs, so students would apply and be accepted to participate in either weekly or bi-weekly sessions, which gives students an opportunity to engage with faculty, staff, alumni, local community members, all in a small group environment. There's also a student-run project component of these programs, which gives students kind of firsthand experience of what it's like to develop a program pitch, thinking about an idea or a service that they would like to see on campus. They then receive funding through our office, and they work together as a team to bring those ideas to fruition. And as we've learned through our assessments, that's really where the learning of these programs come from, is thinking about how do they as leaders manage and delegate and work with their peers to really bring an idea all the way from just a thought on paper to reality on campus. We also offer a quarterly women's leadership book club for students who may not want to commit to weekly or bi-weekly sessions, but still want to be engaged in the leadership conversation. And those are offered, once again, free of charge for students every quarter. Now, aside from our formal leadership programs, as everyone has mentioned, there are over 400 recognized student organizations that they can join. I like to refer to these RSOs as our living learning labs. This is really where students get to try out their leadership skills, perhaps apply some of the things that they're learning in their classroom, or also maybe they're really just looking to meet some new friends or try something new. There are lots of opportunities to do all of those. You're welcome to explore and learn more about all of these RSOs using our Blueprint portal. That's that URL you see there, blueprint.uchicago.edu. It's a public access site, which will give you basic information and contacts for all of the RSOs currently on campus. And then if you encourage your students, they log in with their CNET ID, which then gives them a whole lot more information about what the group is doing, what events they may have planned, the roster, if the students have it posted. It's really the home for all of our student organization activity on campus. With so many RSOs on campus, it's hard to believe that your students would not be able to find something that interests them. But if that happens to be the case, they're welcome to work with my team to submit an application to start their very own group. And we are already hearing from many of your students who are eager to explore the RSO community and have many ideas for what kind of organizations they would like to bring to campus. One particular RSO opportunity I want to highlight is that first bullet point there for our student government, which I get the pleasure of working with directly every day and every week of my existence on campus. Our undergraduate student government consists of 5 representatives from each of the class of the college. Students will learn about the undergraduate student government when they get to campus next week, and they will be given the opportunity to submit their information to run as a representative for the class of 2025. With their elections happening actually pretty early in the quarter, just at the end of the second week. And so we'll talk about one of the events coming up next week where they'll learn a little bit more about this. But we really do hit the ground running when it comes to our student governance structures on campus. And then finally, I just wanted to share a few key programming pieces with all of you in the hopes that you can share this with all of your students. During orientation and the first week of classes, there are two programs that are specifically focused on getting involved in the RSO community. First, the Blueprint program will be a free lunch that's offered on the Friday of orientation and will feature the undergraduate student government and a variety of other RSOs to be on hand to talk with your students, all while enjoying a great barbecue lunch outdoors in the courtyard outside of the Reynolds Club. At the end of the first week, though, is our traditional RSO fair, which is held on the main quad, which is featuring hundreds of RSOs and campus departments. This is a really great way for students to see the wide variety of opportunities available to them. Now, we know that a program that has hundreds of tables in the main quad may seem a bit intimidating for some students, which is why we direct them to our Blueprint site, where also many of the RSOs set up virtual and other mass meeting opportunities so that as students want something a bit more intimate to have those conversations, they don't need to do so in a crowded quad space. And then finally, as we think ahead to winter and spring, there continues to be all kinds of programming available for your students, whether that's 6 a.m. yoga to celebrate winter in Chicago during a program we call Cuvia, or trying to make sense of the 350 plus items that will be on this year's scav list for our infamous UChicago scavenger hunt in the spring. But regardless of where your students' interests may lie, you can trust that there will be an opportunity for them to be involved. And I think with that, we're going to open it up for some questions. I see that there's already some in the Q&A. But first, the three of us really just wanted to take a moment to thank you all for joining us this evening. We know that this is an exciting time for you and your students. It may also be a stressful time for everyone. And we really just wanted to assure you that all of us and all of our teams are really working day in and day out for providing opportunities and an ability for you and your students to kind of get connected. We are hoping for a full resumption of opportunities, whatever that might look like for the fall, and really hope that your students are going to be able to get engaged on campus when they're here next week. So with that, Matt, I'll turn it back over to you and we can see what questions we have.
All right, thank you so much, Jimmy. Just a reminder to everyone, if you do have a question for one of our panelists, just drop it into that Q&A box and we will work through them. Our panelists have been busy typing away and answering some of the questions that many of you have already submitted. And so you can also check in that answered area. But some of the common ones that have come up, one of them is actually one that Meredith is answering right now. And that question is, where do students find out who their career advancement advisor is or their career advisor is?
So the answer to that is it is listed in the portal that students have access to, and it'll be posted tomorrow morning, as well as the information regarding the time and location for the first year advising session. But if you are interested, you can also just have the student email me at my email address, daw@uchicago.edu, and I can follow up directly. I've had a few private messages that I've been looking it up and corresponding with the students directly as well this evening.
And I can also add that next week, your students will all be able to pull up their appointment card in their UChicago College Connection app. That's our main app for the orientation schedule and access to all sorts of things on campus going on throughout the year, and particularly during the first couple of weeks. In that app, there will be an individualized appointment card so that students will be able to not only see the full orientation schedule, but they'll also be able to log in and see their own personal orientation schedule of required meetings and locations and times. And in that appointment card, they're going to be able to see information about their academic advisor and their career advisor, what time those meetings are, where those meetings are taking place, as well as for other important orientation events, personalized just for them. So that's something that'll be coming for students next week. Jimmy, I think the next question is for you, specifically someone specifically asking, how do students find the broad everything before they go deep into anything? Is there a single resource launch pad that summarizes activities and opportunities across the board?
That's a great question. And the answer is kind of yes, sort of. So the UChicago calendar is a great place for identifying programs and resources that are taking place that are being hosted by academic departments or units on campus. But as you might imagine, our students are not always the best at posting their own events on the university's calendar. So in which case I would once again direct you back to Blueprint. I think one of the benefits that we've seen of kind of this virtual engagement over the last year is that RSOs have really been able to utilize that portal to advertise and market their activities. And so if you're talking about broad engagement, both with university like department programming and RSO programming, there's not a single calendar, but between those two, you're going to catch most of the activities that are happening on campus.
And Jimmy, sticking with you for one more question. So are there a lot of clubs that require an interview process? And if so, how do students know that that is the case?
So there are some of our clubs that have a competitive process for like leadership and various other levels of membership in their organization. But to be clear, every organization is required to be available for any member of the college or graduate student. And so we work with them to make sure that there's some sort of general membership. So if you, for instance, wanted to work with one of our investing clubs, they tend to be some of the most competitive. There's always a kind of basic membership level where you can attend their programs, you can attend their events. But if you wanted to be on more of a specialized team that is actually working on investing funds or doing some market research that you may actually have to apply for, that is where speaking to those RSOs during the student activities and resource fair, during the Blueprint event, or checking the Blueprint portal for when they hold their mass meetings, that's where you're going to get the best information around what kind of application or interviews are they going to be having. And then also like, what do they look for in a student to fill those roles? But rest assured, if you are trying to get involved in one of those organizations, they're going to find a way of getting you incorporated. It might just not be at one of those higher leadership levels right at the beginning of the first quarter.
There's a question here about how class representatives are chosen. I know there's an election. Can you describe a little bit about what that process looks like?
Yeah, there's a ballot that's hosted on Blueprint yet again. That is available to everyone who is registered as a student, as a class of 2025. There will be opportunities for the candidates to table, to submit videos. They typically do a debate. All of these are activities and events that get marketed broadly to the class. And then every member of the class gets to go online and cast their vote for the 5 students that they would like to represent them. And I think actually we're using a ranked choice this fall. So that'll be a new thing that we're going to be trying out. But essentially, those individuals with the most votes get seated as the 5 representatives for the class. You
make it sound so simple. But I know your team does a lot of work to make sure that all runs very
magic. It's the magic of the work we do. It's all so simple.
That's right. That's right. And we all benefit from it. So thank you very much. All right. It looks like the team has really been plowing through some of the questions being answered there. So again, if you have asked a question, it looks like that we have put the answer out there someplace for you. But if there are any other questions, we have just a few minutes left. If you want to drop those into the Q&A box, we can take those. Otherwise, we will start kind of winding things down here in a moment. I just want to give a plug for any of our international parents that may be viewing this today. We do have our International Parent Orientation webinar coming up later this week. It's taking place on Thursday of this week at 8:30 in the morning Central Time. And so if you haven't registered for that, please go ahead and do so there. Our director of the Office of International Affairs will be leading that session. And a couple of questions have just come in for you, Jimmy. One is about the Gallup assessment and StrengthsQues. What's the next steps for students who have completed that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the next step is once they get on a campus next week, there's going to be some marketing pushes that'll come out to everyone, inviting them to some of those workshops and or taking advantage of some of the one-on-one counseling appointments if they'd like to do that with our staff. So more to come. There will be lots of emails coming their way.
All right, fantastic. Well, thank you all so much to our panel and also to all of you who have attended, a great crowd here. We will process this and get this put onto the orientation website as quickly as we can. It'll be in that, there's a section there called incoming or communications for incoming students. You'll click there and there's a drop down for webinars, and all of our webinars from the entire summer will be or have been posted there. So we'll get this one up as soon as we possibly can. Thank you so much for participating. Again, thank you to our great panel, and we look forward to seeing you all on campus very soon. Thank you so much. Have a great night.